Hey there, Heather Ho, there's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to semifinals action of the Canada Cup title belt boxing on Canada Day. This is the final four, and all of that. I wish I could give you a recap in a sense, but logically, title belt does not allow that unless I'm losing control. So anyway, we have two semifinals, one stacked semifinal and one non-so stacked semifinal. This is the non-stacked semifinal. As Robert Couleru, the heavyweight from the 1950s, take on another heavyweight, Larry Gaines, and all that. Jeff Fenish and Joe Chavez are looking good. When you look at the trainers, I think Gaines might have this one. We're at the Winnipeg Convention Center. Jimmy Lennon being your announcer, Jenna Blux being your rain card girl, Michael Griffin being your referee, Tony Paulio, Gail Van Hoyt, and Yu Wan Su are your judges, with Don Cost your inside expert. Clodeau is 3-1 with a pair of knockouts. Bob Clodeau, as he's known, born in 1938. He came from the United States to Montreal to play. He was 6'2 and 210 pounds for this fight, 48-6-1 Canadian heavyweight title. On Canada Day, he faced Lou Brouillard in a fight card and lost to him by unanimous decision. Then he won by unanimous decision over Old Chocolate Godfrey. Then he KO'd Dave Castelrue and Donovan Razor Ruddock. So basically, he's knocked out his two opponents. I believe he's got the only two knockouts. I think. Anyway, Larry Gaines, 491, died 1983 in T. Dot. 6'1 and 194 pounds for this fight. 114, 23, 5 Commonwealth heavyweight title and Canadian heavyweight champion too. He beat Max Schmeling and Primo Carrera. I can't believe he did that, but he did. Personally, he's been to Montreal, Toronto, and Winnipeg. He's won by split decision over Albert Belanger, 2-1. He beat Kirk Johnson by split decision, 2-1, and then he unanimous decision on Jean Pasco. So here we go. We now graduate to 12 round matches, and then the final is 15 rounds.
judges' votes are in, and here, ladies and gentlemen, is your winner.
Tony Perleos goes about 116, 112. One die. Gail Van Hoyt, 117, 111. And One Soo Young scores at 116, 112. For the decision by Larry Gates. He had everything to gain and he got Claru. So Larry Gates moves on. Yeah, he had the punching accuracy. Scorecards. Yeah, Claru had a few rounds. Only a few. Got 4 by Palio and Yu, and 3 by Van Hoyt. Our second semifinal is Sam Langford, the light heavyweight for the 1900s, against the welterweight for the 20s, Jimmy McLaren. So these guys have battled. They actually fought once, and that was at the Canada fight card. It decided to do a tournament this year. Danny Florio versus Frank Bagley. Oh yeah, the two Dannys. McLaren might win. The Halifax Forum in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Jeff Connor, your announcer. Amy Carl, your ring card girl. Don Griffin, Rocky Young, and Kenny Gray, your judges. Mike Hansen, your ringside expert. Sam Langford, the Boston Tar Baby, as they come, 1883 1956. Born in Weymouth, Cambridge, Massachusetts, but was born in Canada, so he's hoping to do better. 5'6" and 175 pounds for this bout. 203 wins in his career. The world middleweight title, the world colored heavyweight title, the world heavyweight title. You know, things were a lot different back in the day. He beat Jimmy McLaren by TKO at a one night card and all that, but he defeated Mysterious Billy Smith, Armand Savoy, and Carl Tremaine, all by unanimous decision. And all the fights have been in Montreal except for this one now. Jimmy McLaren, known as Babyface, from Ireland, moved to Vancouver. He was born in 1907, died in 2004, which was pretty good. He was almost 100 years old. 5'6" and 138 pounds. 55, 11, 3, the world welterweight champion. Also the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Personal history, he lost to Langford, but he's won by unanimous decision 3 times. Against Sid Vanderpool, pissing off Kitchener in the process. Eric Lucas, and even beating George Chuvalo, which is like unbelievable. But yeah, basically everyone has been saying whoever wins this fight will be the odds-on favorite and probably will win the Canada Championship. You never know.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One, two, three, 4, 5, 7, 8. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ladies and gentlemen, we have your decision.
A TKO by Sam, the Boston Tar Baby Langford, doing his job as Jimmy McLaren. Punches. Well, he knocked down Jimmy 3 times. Scorecards say it was 98-90. It was basically done and dusted for McLaren. One more fight. The championship. Larry Gaines and Sam Langford. Who would have seen this coming? Well, Langford's a legend, but Larry Gaines. I mean, to be honest, massive foreshadowing by Alternate History 100 on YouTube when talking about the 32 player thing on YouTube, like last Thursday, our Red Sox fans stream. He said, I hope Gaines is in there. Like, Gaines? Who the hell is Gaines? And then I found Gaines and I'm, oh, Alternate Histories guy. Well, massive foreshadowing by this guy. He's got Larry Gaines. He said Larry Gaines, I didn't even know who the hell he was. And now he's in the final against Sam Langford at Club Soda in Canada. Club Soda, of course. Lube Contreras, your announcer. Eileen Podolsky, your ring guy girl. Herbert Earl, referee. Anek Hatakam, John McCarthy, Big John McCarthy. And Paul Thomas are your judges. Dan Coco, your ringside expert. Larry Gates, 4-0. 01 to 83, as you see. His biography. Beating Schmelly and Carrera. His ratings. Statistics and all that. Personal history, of course. So in Montreal, Toronto, Winnipeg, and Winnipeg. I think we're in Winnipeg. I don't know. But he's been Belanger, Johnson, Pascal, and Clarou. His line of work has been decent and all that. Anyway, Sam, the Boston Tar Baby Langford, who some games put him as Canadian, like this one, and some put him American, like Legends of Boxing 2. And now Red Sox fans stream, he had Langford tie the great Muhammad Ali. Biography. Things were a lot different back in the day. Ratings, statistics, all that. 5 belts. He's doing his job. Personal history. Well, he beat Jimmy McLaren in the July 1st fight card. Now he's in 3 fights in Montreal, then in Halifax. He's beaten Billy Smith, Savoy, Tremaine, and McLaren. So he hasn't had a massive resume of upsets. Neither has Larry Gaines, for that matter. 15 rounds to a finish. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have your decision.
Austin Target. Big games on message. Told you who Games had nothing to do. And if you had 5 rounds. Another TKO win for Sam Langford in the 6th round. Larry Gaines put up a valiant effort. He got to the finals. That was not too easy. Punches wise, yeah, he had the punching accuracy. The scorecards actually had Gaines win a couple close rounds. McCarthy only had Langford up by 1 point. The other two had Langford by 2. But Larry Gaines did have a chance to gain momentum, but failed. And so there you go. Sam Langford is your champion. Yeah. So yeah, first round, Razor Ruddock beating Fernando Gagnon, Lou Bernier beating Clyde Gray, Robert Clue over Old Chocolate Godfrey, George Dixon being eliminated by Dave Castillo. That must have been an upset. Larry Gaines over Blodgett, Kurt Johnson over Herman Nagoju. That was kind of a major thing. Sean O'Sullivan over Milton Hayward. Sean Pascal over Donnie Lalonde. Sam Langford over Mr. Billy Smith. Trevor Burbeck losing to Armand Savoy. That was a massive upset. I didn't think Burbeck would win. would lose. Charlie Boulanger losing to Carl Tremaine. Yeah, that was kind of a move, Tremaine. Tommy Burns beat Joaquin Alcine. George Chuvalo over Al Ford. Leo Waugh upsetting Arturo Gotti. That was a big one. Eric Lucas over Sammy Left Spring, and then Jimmy McLaren over Sid Vanderpool. Second round, Razor Ruddock beat Brouillard. That was a big one. Robert Kalu KOing Castellou. Larry Gates taking Kirk Johnson out. That kind of might have been an upset. Who knows? Jean Pascal beating Sean O'Sullivan. Sam Layford taking out Savoy. Carl Tremaine taking out Tommy Burns. Now, that was a massive one because Tommy Burns was the first Canadian to be named heavyweight champion. Well, I know you'll say, where the fuck is Lennox Lewis? Well, the game didn't put Lennox Lewis as a Canadian. So he didn't qualify. Sorry. But yeah, a big loss for Tommy Burns to Tremaine, of all people. George Chuvalo beat Leo Watt, and Jimmy McLaren beat Eric Lucas. Robert Kalu TKO Razor Ruddock. That was a big one. Larry Gates took down Pascal. Sam Layford took down Carl Tremaine in the quarters. And George Chuvalo fell to Jimmy McLaren, although a lot of people said it could have gone the other way. Semifinals, Gates over Claru, and then Langford TKO Jimmy McLaren in the 11th round, and then TKO Larry Gaines in the 6th round. So Sam Langford is your champion, and it's the Canadian champion. We'll probably have we probably will have an American championship coming up soon. We should, in a sense, but that's the way it goes sometimes. So thanks for watching the Canada Cup. I'm Jeff Diamond. Adieu.